Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
Corvette, in cooperation with Pratt & Miller Design, have put together some winning road machines, and they have basically turned the auto racing circuit upside down in Daytona. And this Revell kit is an excellent rendition and new tooling release of the Corvette C7.R in 125 scale. It's model kit number 854304, and it's rated as skill level 4 for modelers ages 12 and up. And it consists of 64 parts molded in white, clear red, metal axles, soft black tires, and water slide decals. You get a superbly detailed race car body with a racing chassis, a safety roll cage, and separate but simplified motor. It's a specific vehicle special subject kit and a historically accurate rendering of the 2015 winning C7R Corvette. The final dimensions are about 7 inches long, 3.5 inches wide, and 2 inches high. Here are the decals for this kit. As you can see, they're very colorful and the registry is good. I strongly recommend using some decal setting solution to make it fit those contours. But as always, use the manufacturer's safety and use guidelines when using any of the products mentioned here in the review for your own protection. Here are the contents of the kit. Some people call this an open box review and go on for 5 or 10 minutes about it, but, well, there it all is. You can see it for yourself. The parts are well molded and laid out, and they have lots of good detail. Gather these parts, which are a very simplified version of the motor, even though it's very detailed, and that's because very little of the motor shows after the build is completed. Now assemble the engine block and then the front, and add the oil pan, and then paint that subassembly testers aluminum. Now the fuel injector unit is painted steel, and it's detailed with some testers light blue. The belt assemblies flat black and detailed with some semi-gloss black. The left rocker and right rocker covers are painted a Model Masters graphite. Add the fuel injection unit, the rocker covers, and the belt assembly to the engine assembly. And then decal number 52 is applied to both of the rocker covers. We can see where it might be easy to install the oil pan incorrectly, so test fit that before you try it, and study the instructions to make sure you orient the part properly. There's trademark and logo script in 3 different areas on the model. Generally speaking, they will just be easily removed with some lacquer thinner and a little light sandpaper. I removed the 2 on the bottom of the chassis and left the one in the middle of the top of the chassis because it will not be seen after construction. Now get these parts out and install the front and rear wishbones for the suspension, and then paint the whole thing testers flat black. Then the disc brakes are painted flat black as well, and detailed with some steel and semi-gloss black, as you see, and the disc brakes then are attached to the chassis. Now glue the completed motor subassembly to the posts on the forward section of the chassis. Paint the wheels gloss black, and after they've dried, assemble the front wheels and the rear wheels, and then install one of the metal axles into one of them at this time. Now slide the axles through the rotors on the chassis there, and then put another wheel on the other side and press them firmly together. Finally, you're going to apply number 2 decals, 2 of them to each of the rims. Now pick these parts out and paint them semi-gloss black. That's the interior pan and pedals and the firewall. Then the pedals are painted steel, and decal number 22 is applied to the center pedal stem. Now the firewall and the pedals are then attached to the interior floor pan. Now scrape the glue off of the contact points and glue the interior pan to the chassis pan assembly. Paint the left and right exhaust headers Model Master gunmetal, and then attach the headers to the appropriate side of the engine and the interior there where they lay. Now we'll install the roll cage front and the engine manifold, and The roll cage is painted semi-gloss black and the intake manifold is a graphite metallic, and it's attached to the engine assembly above the roll cage front. Now get the engine covers and paint those Model Master graphite metallic. And I noticed that the right engine cover mounting holes weren't really formed properly, and they needed to be drilled out a little bit to accept the mounting posts. So do that, and then they are installed and attached to the intake manifold. Now grab these parts, the roll cage panel, the engine cooler, and the seat, and paint the engine cooler after you put the two halves together an aluminum, detailed with a semi-gloss black as you see here, and the seat's painted flat black, and the roll cage panel is a semi-gloss black. Then the cooler assembly, seat, and roll cage panel are attached to the interior tub. Paint the right roll cage and front bar support semi-gloss black, and then attach the right roll cage to the right side of the interior assembly. Now note that it's important to make sure that the roll cage panel that you put in place there stays in the right position, otherwise the rear part of the right roll cage won't properly connect with the interior assembly. Now the front bar support then is attached to the interior and the right roll cage around the dashboard area of the interior assembly there. Paint the dashboard flat black and paint the steering column steel, and then paint the steering wheel and the dash panel in a semi-gloss black. Now the steering column and the dash panel are attached to the dashboard, and the steering wheel is attached to the steering column, and decal number 23 is applied to the steering wheel hub. Now install the dashboard assembly into the interior pan there on the provided supports. Locate the safety net and paint that Model Master flat black, and then attach it to the dashboard assembly and the roll cage panel. Paint the left roll cage and the roll cage top semi-gloss black. Now the left roll cage is attached to the interior assembly and the front bar support and the dashboard, and if the roll cage panel isn't in the proper position, the rear part of the left roll cage won't properly attach to the interior assembly, so make sure that's in place. The roll cage top is then attached to the left roll cage and the right roll cage and the interior to complete that, and then assembly behind the roll cage panel. Now decal number 21 is applied to the left roll cage section. Gather the body and the door panels here, and then give them a light sanding to remove any minor mold lines or blemishes you might see, and then rinse them off in some mild dish detergent and water to remove any mold release, and then they are painted a tester's gloss yellow. Pull out the parts you see here, the headlight reflector and the covers, and spray paint the headlight reflector the tester's gloss yellow, then detail that with some flat gray and silver for the reflector. Then the headlight cover is installed into the body assembly and glued in place with some white glue or clear part cement. And then finally from the back side the headlight reflector is installed into place there. Now locate the windshield and the tail lights, and note that the windshield has all the surrounds painted pre-painted, so that's going to really apply decal number 4 to the windshield and install the windshield into the body assembly. Then the tail lights are detailed with some tester's flat gray, and they are installed into the rear of the body assembly with some clear glue or some white glue. Pull out the parts for the fan assembly and the rear pan here, and assemble the left and right sections, and then finally the fan plate. Now there are Model Masters flat black, and the fan plate itself is a semi-gloss black. Then attach the fan plate to the pan bottom assembly, and then turn it upside down and attach the fan plate assembly to the rear of the body. Get the hood scoop and the hood out, and the hood is painted with the tester's gloss yellow, and the scoop is Model Masters flat black. Then apply decal number 25 to the hood scoop, and then attach the scoop to the underside of the hood. Then install the hood into the body assembly without glue so it can be removed. Now install the body assembly onto the chassis assembly, and I didn't need any glue here, and I left it that way so that I could remove it to show the interior. Get the spoiler pieces out and paint the rear spoiler and the spoiler supports semi-gloss black. The rear spoiler is detailed with some gloss red, and decal number 15 is applied to the rear spoiler's underside. Now make sure that the holes of the decal line up, or you can use a small hobby knife to open those up to make sure that they're there to glue the supports in place. Then glue these spoiler supports into place on the rear spoiler. Paint the left and right mirrors Tester's gloss red, and then detail the mirror surface with some silver. And then the rear spoiler's underside, the bottom, is painted gloss black, and the grille is painted flat black. Install the left and right side mirrors, the rear spoiler bottom and the rear spoiler, and the grille into place. Now mask off the rocker panels at the lower edge of the body there, and paint that with a gloss black, or use a gloss black pen marker. And then you can decal your kit according to the box art and the instructions, which are very good instruction sets and callouts for where the decals are placed. It's difficult to describe this kit because it appears to have been based on something like a die-cast kit, but it does have some very difficult sequences to it, constructing the frame and applying all the decals. But other than that, everything fits perfectly, and she comes out looking gorgeous. As the original machine looks like it really means business for the racing circuit. I think you're going to find that this is a really nice build if you're an intermediate modeler, and you'll have no problems with it, and it comes out looking just beautiful. So enjoy! We hope that you've liked this step-by-step premium quality review, and so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. But you can always find us on Facebook and our website at www.rightonreplicas.com. Thanks!